app via the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, as well as on onespotmedia.com. Plus, listeners in the USA can dial 631-359-8281 to listen. And if you're in the UK and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, you can call 0330-606-0953. You can watch both sides of the story live on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Both Sides 106. Email bothsides106 at live.com. Send your WhatsApp voice notes, audio messages, and text messages to 876-365-3346. Remember, we have two ears and one mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. So stay with us as we listen to both sides of the story. 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 Both sides of a 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 story. Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Hour 106. It is Friday, the 13th of September, 2024, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues: educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
Find yourself in the gutter in a lonely part of town. With it waits in the darkness of the red line to cut some stranger down. Sleeping with an empty bottle, to sad and an empty heart. Man, what he needs is a job, a little respect, get out while he can. We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Neighborhood peace is shining, It's the middle of the night. Young faces hide in the shadows while they watch their mother for the fight. He says she's been unfaithful. She says her love for him is gone. The brother shrugs to his sister and says, "Looks like it's just us from now on." All we always need to hear both sides of the story. We need to hear both sides of the story. And the lights are all on. The world is watching now. People looking for truth. We must not fail now. Be sure before we close our eyes. Walk away from real to the evil side. No, 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 no. Here we are all gathered in what seems to be the center of the storm. Neighbors once friendly now stand each side of the line that has been drawn. They've been fighting here, ladies, but now there's killing on the streets. While small coffins are lined up sadly, now united in defeat. All we always need to hear both sides of the story. When the lights are all on, the world is watching now. People looking for truth, we must not fail now. Be sure before we close our eyes. Walk away from here till you see both sides. No, 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 no. White man turns the corner, finds himself within a different world. Ghetto kid grabs his shoulder, throws him up against the wall. He says, "Would you respect me if I didn't have this gun? 'Cause without it, I don't get it, and that's why I carry one." We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story. Yes, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Well, hello, good afternoon, and thank you once again for making it both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. My name is Dervan Malcolm, and our program assistant on duty is Davin Thomas. And as a team, we'll do our best to ensure that all is well and all goes well. How about that? And so, a reminder that it's a call-in program, both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM, one which is deliberately structured in in recognition of the type of program it is. So it's the members of the general public get to express themselves. I can't say for as long as ever, I couldn't say that, but long enough to give them a sense of accomplishment and a sense of regard and respect for other people's views, and just as though you'd want them to have an appreciation for your views as well. So that is the idea. And we thank all those who have contributed and continue to play their part in that regard. So the lines are open, 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. And the text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. As usual, we'll read your messages as they come in, just as how we'll take your calls as we get them. So it's all yours, and we look forward to your full participation. After all, it is your program. Errol Damage or Dalmage, first time seeing this name, saying, "Good evening, Mr. Malcolm. I'm not hearing Power 106 from sometime Tuesday evening. After the heavy rain, I am Spence from in the Kingston 8 area," he says. So sorry to hear about that. Let's see. This one says, "Good afternoon, Dervan. I took a bus from Mandeville to Kingston, and I didn't get a ticket to understand what the caller is saying." This one is a leftover message from yesterday. Let's go back up the line and take a break and come back in just a moment. Please take a look for me. Okay.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15. Have a business idea? Need training in agro-processing or personal care? Looking for manufacturing space? Scientific Research Council, SRC, will help you take your ideas or business to the next level. SRC is committed to empowering you with
claim for the
quality,
31st.
scientific, and
You never worked the
technical
31st?
solutions that include services
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112 and the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. See if we can clear a few of these messages. Arlene Clark says, "Good day, Dervan. Potholes on the roads are killing the Jamaicans' pockets. Look at the pothole in the vicinity of J. Ray and Nephew, the pothole at the vicinity of Cement Company. That hole cost my father a tire and rim to fix. Citizens, let us talk together about the things that are affecting us daily." And you're doing just that, Arlene Clark. Thank you very much for bringing those, and especially those of us who are of the state of those roads. Thank you for your input. Thank you very much. And some greetings coming across from Sharon Smith of J. Manny, the Jose Marti Alumni Association New York chapter. They never fail to make contact one way or another, or to hail us as it is. And this one now, good evening, Mr. Dervan. Please, if I can use your platform, this must be an attempt at hilarity. And so we're going to move right along. Mind you, this person is not asking for anything that hasn't been asked for before. And so the person is asking, if I can use your platform to beg a mule, please. It's going to help me with carrying water. Please, sir, help me. If anyone out there can help, I would really love that, sir. When I was at the RADA show in Santa Cruz, Mr. Floyd Green, I asked him and he said yes, but I didn't hear back from him. Please, sir, I really in need. Please, if you can just call me. Please, sir. My farm is in Elim, St. Elizabeth. Sir, I did see you at the show, sir. Well, we'll forward this message to Althea. Althea is far much closer to the happenings on and off the farm. So we'll pass on the information. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go on. This one, I'm not sure what is being asked here. Oh, okay. So if you are a resident of South Manchester and you suffered losses during Hurricane Beryl and have not had assistance from anywhere, contact the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. And the contact information has been provided from the Manchester Parish Office, their customer contact centre, and the Member of Parliament and Councillor. So this is public information. All right, we hope they get the assistance that they need. as we go up the line. IGT coding. We're scheduled to do a feature on that bit as well. We're going to come around to that. But for the time being, here's a reminder that you're listening to both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And this is one of the areas that our children are being taught to manipulate international game technology, that's IGT, in collaboration with Mona Geoinformatics Institute, MGI, or MIGI, will soon kick off its annual Coding and Robotics program, dubbed the Coding and Robotics Rock Camp across the Caribbean. So that's something to look out for. In fact, this year's camp will run, or was scheduled to run, from July 15 to 26 under the theme Climate Action, Think It, Code It, Solve It. And we'll see student participation from Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, and Jamaica. As implied in the theme, the students will be encouraged to apply technology to potentially address Caribbean climate resiliency issues. And you can, as smart, bright children, you know what to do. You can search the information and apprise yourself of what it is about, and then take it from there. But it's something that is on its way, as my late mother used to say, and a something go, and something come. So we have to get ready for these developments. As we continue with more on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Arlene McPherson says, here is Kamala Harris' song. Play it. Okay, I'll see if I can find that at some other time. And let's go up the line here and see Franklin McDonald, as usual, always at it, ferreting out information and sharing it. Thank you very much, Mr. McDonald. And this one, so he puts us on to another link. Can there be three sides of a coin? What is your opinion about this? He asks. This is from Mr. McDonald. Three sides. You might have to make an adjustment to how the coin is shaped. 1, 2, 3. And here's Findley Yannick saying, good afternoon, Dervan, to you and the listeners. Have a great weekend. The same to you and yours, Findlay Yannick, thank you very much for connecting with us here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Cuban in Georgia is up and ready to go in terms of what's on his mind. But we'll come back to that in a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30. Whether you're overseas or in Jamaica, everybody wants their little piece of yard. Well, that's where a JMMB bank mortgage comes in. With JMMB, you'll get more support, more incentives, more benefits, more coverage with JMMB insurance brokers. And also, we give you more time to repay. Your JMMB mortgage expert will answer all of your questions and guide you through every step along the journey. You're not alone with JMMB. Contact us at info@jmmb.com and learn how you can get more than just a mortgage.
So Cuban in Georgia is asking who's going to bail the cat? And he goes on to say the IC, as in the Integrity Commission report, is being breached. Is this a police investigation? Well, it shouldn't be hard to find out what actions should be taken upon receipt of this information. It is what it is. If there is evidence that the Integrity Commission report is being breached, then those who are in breach and have a duty to act must act. There's no magic to it. Those who must act must act. Otherwise, all you're doing is acting. That's where we're leaving it, Cuban in Georgia. Thank you for your message, nonetheless, as we continue to take your calls on 876-922-4112-5 and the text line 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. We don't mind the questions, Cuban in Georgia. We appreciate your interest and your input, and we await more messages and calls here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. So by all means, keep those messages coming in and those calls, 876-922-4112-5, and the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. As we continue here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Live on your smart devices. And thank you very much for keeping in touch with us here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. 876-922-4112-5. That's 876-922-4112-5. 411225. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. So keep them coming with those messages and all the thoughts, ideas, suggestions, issues, concerns, whatever is on your mind. Please feel free to share. As we continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. As we continue to stream live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. And we continue to accept your calls, your questions, your criticisms, your comments, your thoughts, your issues, your concerns. The floor is open and ready for your input here on Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. 876-922-4112-5 and 876-365-3346. Looking forward to more of your messages as you continue to prepare those messages that you will then send on to us. Thank you very much for your participation. After all, it is your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM. We'll keep it going here while you continue to share your thoughts, ideas, questions, or concerns here on Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Let's say good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dervan. How are you?
Sorry, let me just referee which of these calls came in first. Because this one is from Mr. Crosburn.
Yes.
Right.
Good afternoon to you and all your listeners.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I just want to share with you an experience and to develop a little bit on a point, a passion of mine. I had an experience in 1984. The country was very low on foreign exchange, and the sugar industry at the time was part of the International Sugar Agreement. So they gave the country the period to keep a stock of sugar. It was developed out from the first sugar agreement from in the 1930s, and an agreement named the Chadbourne Agreement. And then later on, you have the first International Sugar Agreement, the second. So by the time it came on in 1984, we, Jamaica, should have had at least 40,000 tons of sugar in stock and the inspector from the International Sugar Agreement would come down, look at it. So when the inspector came to Jamaica, he visited all the areas that they had the stock. That was at Rome, at Ochireas, at the warehouse in Ochireas, at Bernal Lodge, and at Monmouth. So a dispute developed. The inspector disputed the amount of sugar that we had. that we claim that we have. So a meeting was called after the inspector returned and reported. We disputed it. The island disputed that what these findings were. So I called a meeting at Money Musk to say we resolve all this matter shall be resolved. So they said, let's put the sugar in one place. And they agreed to put it at Money Musk, at the warehouse in Money Musk. And to invite back the inspector to Jamaica. He gave us until the 28th of December, 1984. So we had a meeting on the 19th of December, 1984, and was there haggling in Dervan, big group of men, leaders in the industry, and everyone said it's impossible to move this 30,000 tons of sugar and have it in one place. So one gentleman said, I would like for you to interview him and interview him with the service stalwart. That gentleman is exceptional. He said, he went back to his primary school days and said, one man can do this amount of work in so many days. Give me the number of men. He used proportionality on it. And everybody take away themselves from it. And I remember he man got operation from the 19th of December right through Christmas, Boxing Day. I was there with him. And my youngest daughter was born at the same time. I had to leave from that warehouse and go to Andrews Memorial Hospital, where she was delivered. Anyway, the point I'm making is that sometimes some things look very impossible, totally impossible to be done. But when you have the will and the determination to get it done, it can be done. I say that to say the United Nations quantify and qualify that we are to be paid 19.4 trillion. I'm not saying this loosely. Anyone can Google and look at the United Nations quantification report, and they will see and read the report and see what is quantified for us. So I'm simply saying to all Jamaicans here and in the diaspora, lobby to get this by way of signing a petition, put a petition and say, hear this. I don't expect the countries that operated the 1,062 sugar mills in Jamaica. So these countries such as England, Scotland, France, Germany, Netherlands, Spain, I don't expect each one of them to individually pay the amount of the 9.4 trillion. But what we are saying, although we are demanding the International Monetary Fund to securitize this 19.4 trillion and pay us 0.3 trillion annually over a 30-year period, 2026 to 2056. And thereafter, we, Jamaica, would contribute from that 0.3 trillion. We will contribute 8% of that 30-year period, or SDRs would increase in a significant way, and we would harmoniously receive what is quantified for the country. And I'm asking those of your listeners who is listening just to let us join together, make the petition. I may not be correct in all the details as I presented, but I'm willing for us as a country to break the cycle. And in closing, I'll just remind my listeners that in 2005, Nelson Mandela spoke from Trafalgar Square in England, and he said, every Jamaican, every generation has a responsibility to do something great for that generation.
Thank you very much. We have to break it there. Thanks a lot for the call.
I need.
Okay.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
This is Crime Stop. How may I help?
No them berries of the legal gun, but me know what them know say I'm being car.
Don't worry, sir. Crime Stop is privately funded and run by the PSOJ. Everything reported here is anonymous. It's just like you're invisible.
What about the reward?
We provide cash rewards for information that leads to an arrest or recovery. We'll stash the cash wherever you like, so nobody will ever find out.
All right, me tell you.
Make the call. Crime Stop 311. Solving crime pays.
White man turns the corner, finds himself within a different world. Ghetto kid grabs his shoulder, throws him up against the wall. He says, would you respect me if I didn't have this gun? 'Cause without it, I don't get it, and that's why I carry one. We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Yes, both sides of the story.
Thanks a lot for staying with us on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Another message from Cuban in Georgia, perhaps after this call. Let's take this call and come back. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Hi, Miss Mervis. What's happening?
I was saying before that I'm a little under the weather.
I hope you'll get better soon.
Yes. Good afternoon to you and the staff and all the listeners. I know Friday is a day when I skip the caller program because too many people outside shopping and you know. I get the information some time ago when people see me on the road and they say I'm glad they won't miss anything I have to say on a Friday. Because a lot of them out there shopping and some selling, you know.
Mhm.
Anyway, one of my deepest concerns is the 7-year-old child with this gun.
Mm-hmm.
It really get to me, you know. And I was listening for more outcry as to we work hard to make sure we find out which idiot give it to the child. Eh? A 7-year-old child with a gun in school? Where is that leading to? What are we doing to our children? Why are we destroying them on all angles? Eh? We're really listening for you some serious outcry as to who could have done such a thing, you know. I know them used to give them the gun carry school long time, you know, the bigger ones. When they want to hide the guns, them give the bigger one the gun for carry school. I know that used to happen long down the road. But a 7-year-old child Eh? A gun? Dervan, this one get to me more than anything else. I don't know what if the police have discovered anything yet. But we need to get to the bottom of this thing, seriously. And we need to keep it up front until some information is obtained as to where this little child could have gotten that gun. I have a lot to say, but I'm not going to say them today. It's just that gun thing, you know? Because other people talking about the reparation, but my deepest concern is what have we done with our get at independence, you know? That's what me concerned about. We have given away too much to other people. And that is my concern. The cement company, you name the whole of them, when independence came, we had all of those things. And all of a sudden it's like everything just gone. And the previous caller said something about IMF collecting this money. You know, I like me get some of the money for the Dervan.
What?
Right off the debt and revalue the dollar. Yeah? So you mean that would have made things better? We produce another better year if we produce Dervan.
True. Maybe. Maybe.
But you know, some stuff come off for the dollar value, you know. I don't know if anybody is necessarily the most serious thing at this time. Because they can't produce with this. Eh? No, so they produce, but this dollar madness and what hurt me is that them saying that the dollar is being, well, said the Bank of Jamaica said, bid for the dollar. I have never heard such rubbish in all my life. So when we produce and eat that on a production, Dervan, why them can only think of what is imported alone? How are we going to produce our way to stop the massive import instead of export? Eh? How many times? Sometimes they tell you how much money they have for import. Why don't they tell us what to do for export, Dervan? Eh? How much money is there for how many weeks of import? Eh? You never generally hear them saying how much is anything about the export, Dervan. We need some new leaders, you know. You know, several 2002 in the election, God said to me, the nation, them two political parties need to go in the history book, you know. Tell them thanks to the good to them, to what them do. God them do all bad and do some good. But then if you go in the history book for 2002 election, you must say that to me. We need some new breed of leaders. No. This ain't getting us anywhere. When you listen to what is happening in the health sector and various places and these deeper potholes where people swinging from and getting into these accidents. Eh? They don't know priority, you know, Dervan. You know that?
Yeah.
The politicians have a clue about priority, you know. You gone over St. Thomas gonna make 4-lane road, eh? When a good 2-lane road with some labor would have do the job. Eh? And the whole of the world, almost the whole of the nation network is a mess. Huh? And when them say them patch road, you know, you're not dropping down in holes, you know, Dervan. You're going over some hump. I'm not driving, but that's why I'm not driving on the back of a bus, you know. Because the persons who patch the road don't have a clue how to patch the road so the road remain level, right? Them throw some mall in there and throw some water on it and it gets high up. So what you're getting is bumpy road. Huh? But some of them, you see them vehicle well chuck absorb up, you know, Dervan. They don't feel them there, you know. But the poor driver, them have to drive on every day, maybe can't maintain them chuck absorber like what they maintain, the politician one is maintained. don't think them feel it. One day on my way from school, I get a drive in a tourist bus years ago when I was at school. That was before 94. And this place I'm a drive through named Bailey'sville had a whole heap of patrol in it. Even from up in the section of field where we used to drive from. And Dervan, we used to worry about the tourists. When the driver came me down in the football, I said, but dear God Almighty. And the first time I drive in one bus, so well shock absorb up, so you know. I say, oh, no, me know. Because when it have gone, the shocks and what have you, the ride feel good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, that's what I say, you see what happen now. Them people that will have them vehicle well set up with them shocks and what have you, them not feel nothing. Dervan, them not feel nothing. So they can afford to build 4-lane road in some places and leave the nation network. Like that people dying on the road because of it. Swerving there, nothing there to say patrol. They better start put up some signs, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The patrol in the next yards are so on. So that the people who know the road will know what is going on, but those people who will be driving at for the first time, especially if it's having water in the Dervan.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't see the depth side of the worst part like that, you know. You just can't go down for me night. Well, I don't know. I don't know what it's about this. The nation money. Well, I understand that COVID, no, the other one before COVID in name again. So, Chick V came, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And COVID came shortly after. I mean, no, say, them disease, they make people more sick, you know? Yeah. The residue of them meet up. And it sort of add to the matter of illness. That is one of it. But may I listen to somebody? I must have hotline with Miss Lady this morning and I listened to Dervan. Oh, the Minister of Health was on hotline. I was listening to him and they're always talking about what you eat and so, and so on, so that we can have better health and so. But Dervan, what is it we can eat? All those imported stuff. Me have to wonder, me never know say Ukraine produce so much grain, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the war make me know because me ask God where my food them come from. And when me hear the amount of countries where Ukraine supply with grain, me say, what under the almighty heaven you use to produce them something that to so much countries? Eh? What? Eh? The next question, everything have inside. You know, Dervan?
Mm-hmm.
Me ask the question, where them get so much, where them use to produce so much soya beans? Say all over the world that the whole place full of. If it's even a pack of peanut you buy, soy oil in it. Eh? We need to speak to the things that are really affecting us and maybe especially us what them out that they call third world country, because my God make one world. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know we make three. With the geography from me down school at upper part of elementary school. And in the first Jamaica local. And all the reading, we never hear about three worlds. We know we create one. Some develop and some developing, no sir?
Mm-hmm.
And some use the developing world to get rich, no sir? Eh?
Depends on how you choose to spin it.
Me not spin it, man, because them can't get no cheap labor. You understand? I mean, you're all about the sweatshop, them and the whatever. I know some of them they're in this country too. Poor, low wages and all them things there. We need we need an international. We don't know if we have one, but we need a very serious international organization for consumers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
A fair trash we eating, you know. All kind of foolishness. I wonder how you do it because especially if a wheat, whole heap of your snack having whole heap of is flour. And all them things there. So the people who produce the food them need to have some mercy. Yeah? Sometimes the food that them produce to themselves is not in the one them sell us, you know. You happen to know that. Yeah. The food that them produce and sell us is not the one them consume. Oh, me hear someone, I went to RJ last night, some health program always come up about those kind of things. And these men were saying they were abroad and then buy, I remember if I say man program, I have a program here, but the banana can't break. Look how long it in the fridge. They
Speaking of breaking, one moment, please. We need to take a break, Miss Mervis.
Contractors, developers, and small builders. Contact Coast to Coast Group of Companies for high-quality concrete products. The time by Coast to Coast Group of Companies is
3 o'clock. Looking to take your agricultural business to the next level? New growth opportunities are here with the Development Bank of Jamaica. Small farmers, agro-processors, and all MSMEs in the agriculture sector can access up to $30 million in loans. Visit us at www.dbankjm.com or send us a WhatsApp text message at 876-371-3830 to find out about our agri-based loans. Conditions apply.
Tell a farmer, tell a friend, the BBJ have some for them. Alright, we are trying to build back better.
Rise, walk away from here to the side. No. Here we are all gathered.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. And let's see who's been messaging us lately on those platforms we listed just now. Who is this now? This one says a whole lot. Goodness. Good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. In my opinion, most Black countries in the Caribbean and Africa were living a decent life in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. But since the 80s, living under capitalist capitalism, the Blacks have seen the erosion of their rights. Their lives have been steadily depleting, riddled with corruption, poverty, crime, and violence, loss of jobs. The reduction of our rights have been under constant threat from the capitalist elite. Greed has become the norm. So I think Black countries and communities in the Caribbean and Africa got tricked in believing capitalism and democracy would bring them a better standard of living. Unfortunately, the promises from capitalism have not capitalized or manifested. The North American Free Trade Agreement has destroyed the economy and lives of all Black countries from the Caribbean to Africa. Thoughts of Cuban in Georgia. Franklin McDonald is quick and ready and asks the question, two sides to the story, philosophy and religion. English. Okay. This is a forum on the free dictionary. Wonder where Mr. MacDonald found this one. Thank you for sharing, as usual. Findlay Yannick, well, we'll put that on pause for a moment and go to the phone lines once again. 876-922-4112 Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Hello.
I thought I was just about to wrap up when you
Oh, I'm sorry.
when you said I thought you were taking the time signal.
Mm.
So
Yeah, sorry about that, Miss Mervis.
the last thing I was about to say, I am scared of the next set of vegetable that when I go to the market I come home with a lot of vegetable and fruit. And I am scared of the next set of vegetable that will come up because I know what is going to happen to them in order to get them coming up quickly. Have you ever seen carrot green right through from the top?
No, I'm accustomed to seeing them in orange.
But I'm telling you, is a number. I've been buying carrot and the carrot green. I mean, big carrot green, you know. You have to cut way down to find the orange part, you know. When I ask why the carrots are like that, because I never ever see them like that in a year. But for a couple months now is that the seeing is the carrot green from the big fat part up at top, almost down to the bottom. You don't know them when we ask them why the carrots are like this, they're telling me that the carrot grow above the soil. I said, then this big old carrot just grow above the soil, so something is wrong with that. Because me never ever see carrot a green from the, if you see a little green part, me never see it a green from the top go so far into the carrot. So me right there no concerned because me is a woman will come on with whole heap of vegetable and fruit. So that's another matter with the amount of fertilizer that is being dumped in our cash crops and so on. People need to consider that it is a health problem. And the last one is them chicken what on fowl in a 5 6 weeks or 4 5 weeks. It's still concerned as to what is it them eat when the fowl them are chicken. Because all when them big and you cook them call them chicken still. When the long time fowl them where we know common fowl me want to say. Chicken takes so long to develop. Me have a concern over the years as to what is being given to these chickens for them to be to turn chicken still at 4 5 weeks. Big chicken we can cook. We just have to throw out them arguments in Dervan. So we need to really stop and think and look into these things where we have sick and all kind of disease that take because the stuff them what them have given for eat have sick stuff them. Some people of the world man would have saying that this judgment Rasta man. This judgment and the food chain, you see. We better stop and think and government better help the local people to produce better, yeah? Because it's a whole heap of thing contributing to this sickness. Alright?
Yes, Miss
Have
Mervis.
a very good weekend, you and all the staff and the listeners.
Same to you. Hope you feel better soon.
Yes, man, look at me pick up some draft, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I never have any fan all the while, so me go buy this fan. And the space in my house, me not have much space to fan too big as somebody may have to get it. I mean, I have such a wide space because of the old newspaper them and something will pack up all about in the house. So let me see that the fan breeze because I never have a problem with before. I always sit down at my doorway and open the door and get the outside breeze and the face of this fan. Sudden fan breeze, let me contract this draft. So, bless up.
All right. Take care of yourself, Miss Mervis. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. We're still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5 and the text line 876-365-3346. Let's go to this next call. Hello, good afternoon.
Greetings, Dervan.
Greetings.
How are you this afternoon?
I am fine, thanks. How are you?
Not bad, but we're digesting quite a bit in these foreign lands. You have the election going on, election campaign, which is kind of I don't know if you want to put it amusing or has become such a circus that made for TV drama. The presidential election between the Democrats and the Republicans. A lot of nonsense going on there. The U.S. is in a lot of trouble economically. It's essentially involved in a war in the Ukraine with the Russians. Then you have the Middle East blowing up. Then you have this sort of bigotry that comes about in an overseas society whenever there is economic problems in that society. You have heard about the recent race riots in the UK, across the UK, the length and breadth in the UK. And again, some of the underlying things, the UK economy is not doing very well. In fact, doing very badly. So what we've, realized and looked at the history in both these countries, and particularly so in the Western European countries, these European countries, that the immigrant population tend to be scapegoated a lot for the difficulties that the born or majority population goes through. In fact, you're probably aware that the same thing is happening in Germany. Rise in racist violence and harassment, directed at the immigrant populations that comes into these places. So it's important for Jamaicans who think, that foreign is some paradise that we live in, and everything is all wonderful, and a lot of times you treat the Jamaicans who are domiciled in foreign very badly, or you just see them as a meal ticket, or just as a beggy thing, or somebody to be scammed. But it's not very easy. Jamaicans don't really give feedback on what goes on in foreign, but I think it's important that since we take the liberty to comment and criticize things that go on in our own country, which is where we really focus on, that we also put it out so that people, or people especially who are coming here by the thousands, that they can avoid certain situations. They are aware of certain situations coming into these countries to live, where notwithstanding what you see on TV don't show you the real reality of living in foreign. That's a artificial thing you see on the television. Living in these places, where a neighbor will look right in your face and you say hi, they just do like they never hear you. Sometimes neighbors get into it because they don't like the black neighbor that moved next door. That's very common here. Where there's a prominent Jamaican here who went through that, where the neighbor just took a set on him, threw all kind of stuff over his yard when he wasn't looking, and so on. So these issues, and they are particularly exacerbated when you have an economic downturn in the economies, what we're seeing now in the United States and in Europe. So that aspect of it, gives a lot of concern. For those of us who live in foreign countries, there's always that blowback. As you probably heard of the controversy that was leveled against the Haitians in Ohio. Have you reported on that?
Yeah, I think it. I'm not sure how many people or the extent to which people have taken that seriously. It's
yeah.
Hold a moment, please. One moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15.
If you know one pop down and enke, you feel one mosquito and run with dengue. So no big water circling open concealer. For them to read up under the danger. Usher them out, drag them away. Zap them with the zapper and douse them with spray. Use mosquito net and mosquito screen. Protect your household now, make them come in. If you know one pop down and enke. If you want mosquito and run with dengue.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
It's a sad and an empty heart, man. We need you to
Very supposed in this.
respect. Get out what
Alright, let's see.
we always need to hear both sides of the story.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for our program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm, and we thank you very much for joining us and participating in the program as you have been doing so far. I'll allow you. You were referencing the matter to do with the animals certain animals being consumed
Eating
by
pigs
Haitians.
and dogs. Cats and dogs.
Yeah.
And that's a scurrilous attack on the Haitian community up there. Those of us who know and have interacted with Haitians, they are some of the most progressive people that you can possibly meet. I have, a couple of acquaintances of Haitians. I've been to their events, been to their homes and so on and so forth. In fact, they mirror Jamaicans very, very much. Even though a lot of propaganda has been leveled against the Haitian, a sort of deep animosity to put them down. In fact, I hear even Jamaicans who repeat some of those negative stuff about Haitians and voodoo and all kind of stuff, and kind of typecast them. But as I said, my experience both in the workplace has been very positive. I mean, they have been phenomenal people, and my gosh, I was quite surprised by their generosity of spirit and a loyalness and consciousness type of people. And of course, there is a history, their beautiful history, being the first Black Republic, the first set of Black people who defeated the European racist slavery. So there's a lot there. But more specifically, I've started to do a little research and on that story that Mr. Trump made that off-the-cuff comment about the Haitians, and I started to look at various sources of information coming out of there, and I've been told that the person who was supposedly had some encounter with the animal was not even Haitian, and it's in a different part of the state. and that the person was supposedly of unsound mind. But what is interesting, there have been a lot of cases here in the States of humans having, I don't know if you can call it inappropriate relationship with the animals, where they have actually arrested people, and those people have been the dominant society, members of the dominant societies in foreign, not immigrants. So that, and quite a bit in the media, low key, because you know how the media works here. Certain information is not put out on front sheet, but if it's black people, it gets on front sheet and it gets, multiplied and sensational. It lacks any sympathy or empathy. It doesn't give a reason why they do it. Like as you would see with even mass shooters. You'll see these mass shooters here who are usually white males, tend to be middle class or upper class males who go in and shoot up them school. And they start to tell you, oh, the person had trouble, and sympathetic type of reporting, Dervan. Not so when, and I'm not one of those excuse people who make excuse for bad behavior, period, but this is kind of what you see from the media, which is why it's important that black people tell their stories, that we control media, that we don't have, just CNN piping into Jamaica, but that we have our own Caribbean. It was started years ago. Our Caribbean media, I think it died out, whatever reason, for lack of support. But we need to be telling our own stories. And that's kind of the only reason, Dervan, that I am a little encouraged about social media, because it has allowed a lot of voices to be able to tell their stories. Even though I see a lot of garbage on social media from Jamaica. A lot of Jamaicans tend to think it's supposed to be a passa thing where you put a lot of garbage on there for clicks. But certainly media, we need to use the media to inform our people, the media to teach our people. We can even have classes in our media in Jamaica, to fix a car, mechanic, stuff like that, which is something I see they do in Cuba. Educational programs to teach people, to encourage learning and knowledge in our society, particularly as it relates to our black males in Jamaica. They need it. I noticed there's a lot of dumbing down in Jamaica. Have you been seeing that too, Dervan?
Dumbing down.
Yes, the sort of we've gone into like a semi-literate. There's a rise of semi-literacy back in Jamaica, where they don't know a lot of things. You remember one time the real old-time Jamaica, if you want, for lack of a better word, where you had the Rastafarians spitting all this knowledge. They didn't go to any any fancy school. But they had all this incredible knowledge where now that you are grown and you're exposed to more education, you said, my gosh, where did these Rastas get all this knowledge? Historical events. They could, you understand? Stuff that helped us, that because I hear a lot of dumb down thing in our music. For instance, a dancer. It's a kind of semi-literate dumbing down thing. That wasn't what our dancehall music used to be. When you listen to people like a tenor saw, it's empowering stuff. We're not just copying decadence from the foreign culture that pumping all of that in our television in Jamaica. You see what you understand the point I'm making?
Yes.
Yeah, the youth, they're more enlightened. We want our youths to be more enlightened, so that they can see that the violence thing, just copying the violence from here. Because all of that material, Dervan, and I believe you're a teacher at in the system. Are you aware of the level of influence that electronic media has on our culture in Jamaica? Have you ever looked at any studies?
Not in any detail.
Right. But it does, and they have done quite a bit of study in the States, where they have said the most powerful and influential medium is the television. You know, these are, and we're one of the interesting things about in foreign is that people are moving away from television because they realize how the dumbing down effect of television. But unfortunately, that cultural export is going deeper into our societies, like the black, like in Africa, the Caribbean, because of, we have now 24/7 junk coming from foreign to indoctrinate our children. Not enough time being spent, not enough time by the parents, or you don't have an aggressive curriculum in the schools to help teach social cohesion in the Jamaican society, conflict, how to deal with conflict, our history, that we know the connection of us Jamaican black people. You understand? Because I see they're selling our children a lot of nonsense, Dervan. They're not teaching history, where we come from, the importance of those of us who are our descendants are from the enslavement in Jamaica, who have built Jamaica to where it is. You understand? We water down everything. We water down everything. Even this out of many nonsense that they are pushing down there. We need to be strengthening the dissemination of our history as Jamaican black people. We bear the brunt of everything on that island. You understand? And we are being disenfranchised economically. I see when promoting tourism. Why isn't there a greater participation of ownership in that tourism industry by local Jamaicans? Why? It is not encouraged. We need to get the support for our people. Just like Dervan, I don't know if you're aware that the government gives billions of dollars of subsidy to the largely foreign-owned hotel down there. Are you aware of that, sir?
They do what?
The government of Jamaica provide huge subsidies to the hotel industry in Jamaica.
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Yes. We advertise, how many millions of dollars we spend to advertise the Jamaican tourism product. Do you know that we give tax incentive for you to bring in duty-free goods to put in the hotels? And that program is probably very misused for furnishing and all sorts of things. You weren't aware of it. Did you know that our government, the same one that claiming this free market thing, and the lady before, the caller lady before, she alluded to the fact that this economic model that they're pushing, not carrying Jamaica anywhere. I remember the Patterson administration built that expensive project, Whitehall.
White House.
Yes, White House. That was why was that government taxpayers' money used to build that? We also look at the other one for the Rollins family, the Ritz-Carlton. That was you're familiar with that one?
Yes.
Yes. So you take the money, you claim. You, Mr. Andrew Willis, and all of you, Patterson and the whole bunch of you, you claim that you go to privatizing this, but you have disfranchised your people. How they Daylights, can you, Dervan, ask me, let me ask you if this makes sense. Can you imagine you take Jamaican money to build a hotel for for a multi-millionaire family in the United States? Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't make economical sense or.
Exactly. And that is exactly what we did for the Rollins. Right? So I'm saying to our government, you're on the wrong path with what you're doing. See, Dervan, have you realized that the whole economic theory, right? Whether we're talking about Adam Smith and his so-called Wealth of Nations, you realize that all of that turned on its head. Because look at what is happening in China. China has used a system where...
Let's come back to China in a moment, please. One moment.
Yeah.
Help us protect Jamaica's borders. Tell us about any illegal guns coming through customs-controlled areas. Call Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
3:30. Looking to take your agricultural business to the next level? New growth opportunities are here with the Development Bank of Jamaica. Small farmers, agri-processors, and all MSMEs in the agriculture sector can access up to $30 million in loans. Visit us at www.dbankjm.com or send us a WhatsApp text message at 876-371-3830 to find out about our agri-based loans. Conditions apply.
Tell a farmer, tell a friend, the BBJ have some for them. All right, we are trying to build back better.
He officially does a trade war, he declared. And it's still on. It has intensified. And countries like ours, Jamaica, developing country, we certainly can benefit. We can benefit from these big superpower tussling before them come to real blows to see who can control this and control that. We can benefit in our country, but we have to be strategic. We don't need puppet leaders in our country. The Prime Minister don't have to behave like a puppet because you're not going to get anything. You've got to be quiet and strategic because Jamaica, these people are looking for friends. Why they want friends, not just markets, because they need diplomatic allies in the United Nations and in the court of public opinion. So they need us. That's why Jamaica is important. You understand? Not that they love us. They don't love us. None of the sides. So we have to be strategic to play these hegemons against each other so that our country can benefit. Real benefit. Not just give them everything. Which leads me to this nonsense with sending Jamaican police ill-equipped. I don't want to throw any shade on the Jamaican police, but they have not been stellar in their role in Jamaica. They are very lackadaisical about crime. I know they're frustrated, and we can give them all kind of excuse. But our police in Jamaica are not particularly impressive. I know it's not, all the cards are not in your hands. But you're not impressive. Because you still haven't locked up any politician. You're still playing around. So the Jamaican people are not impressed with Jamaican police when they are in Jamaica. We know that they go to foreign and they serve well in white man's police force and so on. Right? But they don't give us that kind of respect in our own country. So I understand the two-way street. But Dervan, you and I spoke about this Haitian game that they are playing with this so-called gang nonsense, right? Because I've never in my life seen a gang man walk all over the television. The man must do about 100 interviews. I just saw him do another one recently with some folks, right? And he's all up there. And we have heard from independent journalists, white American independent journalists, who have given us the 411 on the so-called gang, and that the gang, so-called gang, is connected to the oligarchy in Haiti, the billionaire. You know that Haiti has a billionaire, has a couple of billionaires. Were you aware of that, Dervan?
No specifics, but generally speaking, yes.
Yes, there is a couple Haitian billionaire. The billionaire class in Haiti are Lebanese, Syrian folks. They are well known. It's all in the press. It's covered, but it's low key covered. But this is the situation. And they want to lock out the Haitians out of their own resources. Because according to geological studies, there's a lot of mineral wealth in Haiti. Just like there perhaps is more mineral wealth in Jamaica. Because that's the nature of geography, right? So those places tend to have oil, gold, and you name it. Because that's why we have this tropical islandic type of formation. So they know. So this is what it's all about. They don't want the Haitians to be in charge of their own destiny. They have a grudge, number one, that the Haitians had kicked out those racist French, Napoleon, right? They vex. They don't want to see. Because we must just be the buyers and the consumers and the maids. And you understand? This is our role. This is what they put on us, that we must be that. We're not supposed to be entrepreneurs. We're not supposed to be in the commanding heights of our economy. And this is what we have to teach our children, so that our children know that we're not going to pat them on the back, watch them kill one another. You understand? And it even detouring a bit. It even bring me back to these cases in Jamaica, where the Jamaican elite intelligentsia, they have made us look like idiots. They can't even conduct a trial. And then we have the Prime Minister coming to ram this woman, incompetent DPP, back down our throats. Just let me tell you something, Dervan. If you devalue the life of one citizen, no matter how lowly on the economic ladder you think that person is, that they don't deserve. Because I know our little dirty behavior in Jamaica, the pretentious attitude, where we think that we are better than other people. When injustice meet any Jamaican citizen, understand, it's not acceptable. It means that we have devalued ourselves also. It's just like, Dervan, you remember apartheid and the racism that those South Africans went through? Mm-hmm. We knew as Black people that if Africa was not free, Black
at this land is without it, I don't get it, and that's why I'm carrying on. Always need to hear your side of the story, your side of the story.
Thanks for holding. Sorry. Thanks for holding here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. And let's continue the conversation. You were saying just before the break.
Dervan. So I'm citing all of these things that we have to teach our children. We have to strengthen the curriculum in the educational system. We are not teaching our children some relevant social cohesive doctrine. We are allowing these interlopers to come into our children's consciousness, to come into our culture and mash it up, put all kind of thing. The youth them think violence and gunplay is the thing, and they're turning it on themselves. They don't know it's the oppressor. The guns must be turned on. So we're creating this situation where we have an island full of black people, but they don't have any connection to one another except through a little jump up some of the slave food, our 500-year-old slave diet, which is quite palatable. But we're not teaching the children to see. You know, when I see a Jamaica, right, immediately when I realize you're a Jamaican, that is a strong bond. There is a history of where we're coming from as a people. All my experiences, how I've been treated by particularly strangers, not even by strangers in the Jamaican body. You understand? That the orange man who gives me a extra orange right out at my primary school. You understand? The orange man who cleaned up his area. I remember squeezing lime, washing it up nicely, presenting the orange. One day he came with a nice machine, a fancy machine to peel the orange. You know, these were the people who looked out for me as a child, didn't exploit me, didn't try to hurt me. You understand?
Yeah.
Never tried to pull me away. These are the Jamaican experiences. The neighbor, in fact, a neighbor in the neighborhood, she was the first person in the neighborhood who had a swimming pool. They were a lovely swimming pool. And the lady called all of us in the community to go and get your trunks, come over and swim. You don't find those kind of vibration in foreign, man. This is something special. The Ubuntu, the Ubuntu principle that we had as African Jamaicans. You're familiar with the Ubuntu principle, Dervan?
Is that the part that says you are me or I am?
Right, exactly. And Umoja. You know, when you live and travel in different places and you harken back to, where you come from and the things that we did. I'm not one of those chauvinistic Jamaicans who believe we are God and we are the greatest island and all. No. But I recognize that there were certain things that preserve our lives, even though we weren't rich and so on and so forth, that the Jamaicans were such humane people, and where they got all these things, and now they have thrown it away largely, largely now we lock up the house and we don't want nobody come forth. But these were the experiences made us very civilized, very cultured, that we have what is going on in foreign, and we believe every piece of foreign import over our very things that we have built. The last point I'm going to touch on is look at our education. Last week I alluded to our institutions, our schools, that people before us have built up. They have labored in there. The teachers, some of the teachers. I remember Miss Matt James, Harvard Tree Primary School. You understand? When you're a child and you become friend with the principal. This is the kind of Jamaicans we had. So now these institutions, we have the University of the West Indies that has not been forward thinking to expand, to bring more Jamaicans in it. to educate more Jamaicans in it, to bring international students, particularly from Africa. Dervan, do you know that there are thousands of, listen to what I said, of thousands of African students who patronize the universities in India? Were you aware of that, sir?
No.
Yes. You know why they go to India? Because it's more affordable.
Not well. That's one of the reasons why some of our students were in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were
something that was
scouting for what they would consider to be reasonable or manageable in terms of their, yes.
Well, what is stopping us, we have the University of the West Indies, we have CAS, we have some other institutions there. We can also set up
UTech. Remember, CAS is no more.
UTech, yeah, exactly. But we have been conditioned by our little oligarchies down there who want to lock us in this one-dimensional Europe or America. And I'm glad that many of our Jamaican people, following the teachings of the Rastafarians, the original Rastas, not these rascals nowadays, but are going to these places. You're young, you're youthful. Go and develop, go and forge relationships with these started back in the 70s. Michael Manley, we give him his props because he opened some of those doors, not by himself, because Michael Manley was aware of the political current where Black people was starting to believe in themselves, see themselves as great and their connection with the motherland. So Michael had to put that in, even though Michael was beaten up by some of these racist Jamaicans, still exist in Jamaica. So that's an opportunity for our people. The University of the West Indies will be opened up and expanded, and we're making money that we can use that money to help subsidize our local Jamaicans. Can you imagine, Dervan? You have a nurse. I told you about a friend's daughter, that she was rejected, and that they don't have enough space for her. So I went to research the nursing school to see what kind of expansion plan they have done over the years. Nothing. And all you are doing down there is digging up foreign people universities to go get foreign indoctrination. What kind of nonsense is that? Then what was all this investment where we invested in our teachers? We have our teachers' colleges. I saw where Ronald Tweets was trying to tell us that we don't need someone to train some teachers when he was in there. You all said, listen, man, Jamaica. Come on, Jamaicans. I always believed that we Jamaicans, that we were this forceful people. You understand? We were this brave people. But we have turned little mouses now. They have dumbed down the population. Now look at, gone all the way to Boston to go pick up a glorious waste of time degree, right? It's a waste of time when we have our University of the West Indies right here. Come on. No, so what he's going to do now? Come back and push your grade and grandstand with that? Is that supposed to impress Jamaicans? Or is that supposed to tell Jamaicans, say, you need to flee Jamaica to go and patronize their thing? We are incapable of building or sustaining our own institutions, our learning. Huh? What kind of nonsense is that, Dervan? When you're the leader of a country, you're supposed to be inspirational. You're symbolic. You're not supposed to run a push grade in a foreign people clothes, shoes. We make shoes in Jamaica. Why are you promoting other people's shoes and other people's suit? You're supposed to brag about a Jamaican making your stuff that you're wearing. We have some of the best designers. We have a fledgling design era in Jamaica. People trying to get their stuff and creation. What kind of prime minister is this? What kind of leadership is this? It go back to what the lady before me said. You're all a bunch of jokers, man. And then now you're gonna come cock up your foot now in a foreign and blow through all the big expenses. That expense could have feed a couple children who had difficulty going to school since the school term resumed. You're gonna go now, Prime Minister. You're a joker. You need to be schooled in Jamaican history. I understand that Isiaga schooled you, and he misschooled you. You should have been schooled among the Jamaican people. What kind of elitism is that against our own institutions? Dervan, against our own institution. Don't you see the trend where we are promoting over and above our Jamaican developed institutions? Isn't that what you're seeing, sir? Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, but if nobody cares about it or that it's happening, then they just continue doing it.
Because you know that one of the most lively part of the philanthropy efforts is by the diaspora overseas. I am part of my alumni. I've supported them. I've helped out. We help right now. They're planning a walkathon thing to raise money for the schools down there. So the people are interested. But what happened to? That's what I'm saying. And another thing about it, the dumbing down. We have a lazy middle class set of people. They just hide up behind a grill and I watch foreign TV. The world are passed by. And you pick them and run go foreign. Because you don't fight for anything, you don't lobby for anything, you don't own anything, you don't go like catch in Jamaica. You don't catch in Jamaica. What are we gonna do? Wait till every foreign person can come up and talk to us? Have you seen social media, Dervan? When you look, you see all these foreigners talking authoritative. I'm talking about people who recently located, expat for Jamaica. And I'm saying to myself, so where's our people? Oh, what happened? You all just sit down there, waiting to die? What is this? Where is our lobby? Where are our grassroots lobby people them? Why they not getting voices in media? Because I'm sure a lot of them are around. I'm in contact with some of them.
Hold a moment, please. Hold on, please.
Yeah.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock.
People looking for truth. We must not fail now. Be sure before we close our eyes. Walk away from here till you hear the signs.
Thanks for holding. Please continue.
Yes. Dervan, remember I suggested previously.
Hold on. Your volume went down. Not sure why. Hold on. Go ahead. Go ahead now.
Yeah. Yes. One of the things that I'd suggested before that I'd thrown out to your audience was about the hospitals, about forming friends of such and such hospital, particularly the government hospitals. Friends of where not just about raise money and thing, but also as a lobby in your communities. That is a very important component that we could use in Jamaica because they do it in the States very effectively. So people in the community keep the hospital in good standing because they make their suggestions, they're heard, they participate in meetings about the hospital. Because let me say something to my Jamaican people. I don't know if the whole Jamaica listen to your program or what, but this is your island. You are not Let me say this again. You, as a black person, no care you think you're pretty, you're intelligent, you're whatever, you're outspoken, you are not going to get that billing in these foreign countries. This is your island. This is your place. You have a right. You can go to the parliament. Go sit down inside there. You can go and meet these guys. You and them show up in the same neighborhoods, right? Talking about our politicians. This is your, don't just sit there and just watch us lose influence, Dervan. We are losing influence. Our people on the ground. You're acting like Jamaica is not yours. Show some ownership. So with the hospital in your community, form a community, a committee called, whatever you want to name it. What are friends of, let's say friends of the Cornwall Regional Hospital, and demand and ingratiate yourself with the Minister of Health. The Minister of Church at a particular place, we have seen him in the church, right? So you are palsy-walsy with these people, but you keep your mouth shut. You keep your mouth shut. We run into these people in the supermarket. I've certainly done it. On many occasions, I've run into from former prime minister, this, that, and whatever. In there, Jamaica is a small island. Ingratiate yourself with the people that's supposed to be collecting money in your name, that are live big. Mr. Andrew Owen is the prime minister now, going to go cock up him foot and bask in a prime ministership, same represent Jamaica in foreign. You understand? We don't just want pretty boy grandstanding. We want people that's going to make Jamaica a full participation of the people in the development of their own country. We're not living at the bugu time now. We are in a place where our children are better educated, more information. We know country is not country anymore, Dervan, right?
Yeah.
Country has become very urbanized and very much cosmopolitan, if you want to even put it that way too.
And that will continue. I'm saying, and that will continue for some time. Exactly. The urbanization.
Yes. So we as Jamaican people get out of the comfort zone. When they think when they can just live off of the fact of what the other pioneers have brought to the table. Those reggae pioneers who helping to put on upon now give Jamaica notoriety and recognition. Don't just take it and milk it. And all the goodwill and the soft power that we have accrued because of those same Jamaicans. Those same Jamaicans who went to England back in to build that wicked empire country. You understand? In the UK, the Windrush generations who are being treated like that now in the UK. They are the ones who pave the way. They are the ones who bring the soft power, their tenacity, their work skills. You understand them dedication. Dervan, if you ever seen, if you ever seen our caregivers and our nurses who work in these foreign countries and see how the dedication that they put in to take care of these old white folks. Have you ever observed anything like that when you come to the States?
Yeah, but something else I observed today, it hit me for the first time, maybe because I wasn't paying attention, and it's the aging of our population.
Yes, it is. Yes, that's a big issue. Yes,
and what we have to ensure is that we help them to age gracefully, not dreadfully.
And again, that also exposes our fault lines of our people, and this is important for you Jamaicans down there to know that a lot of our women, in particular, they take care of these old people in foreign, who many of them are very racist with their attitudes. They sometimes fight them, rape them, all kind of different things they have to put up with. Really horrendous conditions. And they don't get a lot of pay relative to American standard of living. They don't get a whole lot of money. And the conditions are not very favorable. And many times, you know, they work long hours, they don't have no social life. Many of them husbands find alternative women while they're gone to work. That's a problem here. A huge problem. And but those people, I see those caregivers in action. And I have to say much respect to our Jamaican caregivers and the nurses, because they really slog it out. Don't look at the fact that it's like a US dollars it in. That is no, for what they do, they're really paid very low here. And they're getting old. Many of them die, never get to even go on a little vacation, because they have to live in. When you live in these people places, you're in a mansion, live in a mansion conditions. You are relegated to a little area, and you have to clean this and clean dog and everything. It's not easy. In fact, Dervan, there is a study that was done about the Caribbean women, and the fact that many of them go into this sort of occupation, this service occupation, to serve in others. And some, I think the analysis was comparing it with the role that our black women played on the slave plantation to take care of the wicked oppressors' children. Many of us don't remember that story very well, but, so they were looking at that. But going back to that issue about the aging, that's a very serious issue. And I want to set this to the shutters, if any of you listening, that these very same women that you're murdering children and your brothers and so on, they could be the ones taking care of you in the hospital, taking out your bedpan, offering some assistance to you in the hospital. The same people that you're killing with all this, over nonsense. And you have all this rage in you. You just want to done them, and you want to mash up the funeral, and you want to mash up the this. Remember, Mr. Black Jamaican man, remember, you're turning your gun on the wrong person. You're turning your gun on the people who came over across the Atlantic into chattel slavery, the worst form of oppression, dehumanization. And see, we still have to be struggling. We have to be going into these very racist countries. Because no matter how you see them grin and laugh with you, they'll sleep with you. There is this intrinsic supremacy, the sort of heat. It baffles me to think that somebody can hate you. You see heat in them reflecting just by seeing you. And let me tell you something, Dervan. Whether you're clean, whether you're in a jacket and tie, you understand? Whether you have on the best, you carry yourself the best, you speak the best English, it matters not. It floors you when you are subjected to racism. You understand? It floors you when I've been subjected to it. Oh yes, just clear out of the blue. I've been subjected to it. So that superior attitude that exists in these places is not the best thing for us. So we want to build up Jamaica, but you've got to own Jamaica, and don't allow these self-serving politicians, right? These self-serving politicians, them can't make up their mind which citizenship they want to keep. Can you imagine you in an island, you're at the top of the food chain, you're a politician, you're the people's representative, you're going to enjoy the best life, and you can't even do something as symbolic as saying, I am a Jamaican. I have my Jamaican passport. Yes, I'm a Jamaican. I have my Jamaican passport. Of course, absolutely. Because I'm tied in that soil. You understand? I am tied in that soil. No other place except perhaps Africa. And Africa needs a lot of sorting out. Because, you have a lot of mental slavery in Africa. But we need to engage them. They are our people. They're not perfect. They have a lot of that in there, Dervan. Oh, gosh. The Europeans destroyed the African mindset. When Bob Marley was making that song, Free Your Minds from Mental Slavery, it is heavy in Africa, unfortunately. But, as I said, we got to, as a Jamaican people, own our institutions. We're supposed to know, Dervan, who is the hospital administrator in your particular area. You must know. You need to know our number or his number. You need to know the email because this is public information. You understand? So that when a situation, you don't wait till your mother dead in the hospital and then you have to come around and it come back to us now who used to talk about it. And you say, lad, when we feel like we go sue and all of that stuff, it's too late. Too late. Even though you should still sue. We need more lawsuits against the government to do better. And I'm surprised that most of these lawyers who showboating, everybody want to be lawyer and showboating on the liquor island, you're not offering representation to the Jamaicans.
Hold it right there, because we have your presentation has been causing others to get interested in wanting to discuss and to respond to, in some instances, some of the comments that have been made and what has been said. That could take forever.
Yes.
But
well, whatever we can respond to whatever time you have your indulgence. I appreciate. I'm not a problem. We can engage. It's after hours.
All right. So a few messages that have been coming in after the break. We're close to the break. Let's take the break and take some responses.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15.
Find yourself in the gutter in our lonely part of town. Where death waits in the darkness with a weapon to cut some.
So in terms of some of the responses that have been coming through, let's see. Randy Williams says, hope he ends with something positive. And in terms of the other comments, it's quite a lot, but we'll do our best. The listener who goes by the moniker Taki Lemkwa says, blessings on the downside of the afternoon, Dervan, and to all your listeners. Greetings. As your caller is saying, so much misinformation. History, in fact, is missing in that, and agree totally with him. And another one in Miss Mervis' discussion on food, her mentioning of the carrot got to my interest, as here in the US, I see so many varieties of different colors. Taki Lemko says, however, researching on those, I was made to understand that carrots, which originated in the Middle East of Asia, were already in Egypt after over thousands of years. Jamaican View by Robert C. Gray says, thank God it's Friday, and those tuning in from Jamaica and the diaspora. Donovan Hoylett says, afternoon, Dervan, you must be getting an earful here, brother. And Jamaican View by Robert C. Gray says, with all due respect to the caller, not all JCF officers are bad apples. I have quite a few friends who joined the force right after high school and are still active today, men of integrity. Taki Lemko says the colors of carrots were not orange in their original state. The colors in orange, purple, yellow, etc. were noticeable in Afghanistan from the 10th century. That contributes to the, he says, carrots that are green in color are due to stems when planted being above the soil. And that contributes to the green pigmentation from photosynthesis, making them taste different, as in bitter than the usual carrots. Your caller with regard to Haiti and history is well spot on. I am so disappointed in some of my fellow Jamaicans, including some close family members who are not well aware. Mr. Malcolm, good afternoon. Boy, I rate you. This gentleman, a spitfire, LOL, globalization. He doesn't want that? That's the question. Taki Lemko continues, I never forgot my social studies teacher way back in the early 70s, making almost the entire class wrong for indicating it's called blue draws. That's the, what's the other name for it? That's the same one that they call, oh gosh. Instead, okay, yes, here it is, indicating. So I never forgot my social studies teacher way back in the early 70s, marking almost the entire class wrong for indicating blue draws instead of dukuno as the name for Thai tire leaf cake. Is it Thai leaf cake? As correct. Despite that, we have to survive, and survive means we all have to face up to the reality, with unity being the key. And Olimar Pressful, thank you for the reminder of Dukunu. And bear with us, please. Just giving everybody, as they say in Jamaican parlance, a talk off the mic. Let's see. So let's go down the line here now. This one, Findley Yannick says, the 7-year-old with a gun, get to me. Almost, Miss Mervis. And another one, afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Of course, the Jamaican media is watered down, just like the US, lack substance. H. Morgan in Birmingham says, a pleasant afternoon to you, Dervan. These are two issues I would like to touch on. One of the reasons why there are so many, just a moment, please. Just a quick music break, please. Just a quick music break. And right, thank you very much. Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. H. Morgan says, a pleasant afternoon to you, Dervan. There are two issues I would like to touch on. One of the reasons why there are so many crashes among the taxi drivers is because, all right, because the owner of the vehicle is demanding that the drivers, being in an unreasonable among what? Demanding that the drivers being in an unreasonable position of money each day. On top of that, the drivers have to earn enough for themselves to support their families and or their lifestyle. Thus, they rush to get passengers, driving recklessly just to meet the demands, thus causing multiple accidents. And by the way, those are no longer called accidents. They are collisions and crashes. Thus, they rush to get passengers, driving recklessly just to meet the demands, thus causing multiple accidents or crashes and collisions, injuring and in some cases causing death to passengers and themselves. This practice by the vehicle owners needs to stop so lives can be saved. There are too many taxis on the road and not enough passengers. The second issue is the incident at Montego Bay Airport. How an airport operating without proper medical facilities. The charges to obtain an ambulance are ridiculous. When I was in Jamaica and needed an ambulance to take a loved one to University Hospital of the West Indies from Portmore, we were told the cost to get the ambulance was $30,000. No wonder so many of the citizens die before they can receive medical attention, which could save their lives. So it seems money is more important than to save lives, says, who is this? H. Morgan in Birmingham. We still have the caller is still on. Hold a moment. Let's see. Let's see if he's still there. Sorry about that.
No problem. Very you know, when I heard you were talking about
Where did your volume go? Hold on. Sorry. Just a moment. Okay, go ahead now, please.
Yeah, I was lamenting earlier on about expanding our colleges and places so that or can bring international students, particularly from Africa, where there's a huge market for high quality education at affordable. And you know, something just jumped out at me. Even the Americans, they have been setting up schools in Jamaica for the longest while. That school over there, where those foreign students were allegedly abused. That foreign school is down there in what? Is in St. Anne?
It's all right.
Yes. Okay. Well, it's a foreign man started that school, and he's not even an educator. If they can come in and set up schools, and he was doing pretty well, and his clientele was quite a bit of money to pay for students to come from foreign to go to that school, and he was making money. He was doing very well. So why couldn't we expand our programs at the universities to do the same and attract other people who would enjoy coming to Jamaica? Nice weather. We used to have a discipline system, schooling, without abusing anybody. But we could do that. So there is precedent, because here's this man that I read about. He's an American. He's not even an educator, and he had a big school down there in Jamaica, with lots of students and making money from it. Why we can't do that for our own country or institutions, so that more Jamaicans, instead of having less Jamaicans affording higher education, more and less Jamaicans, and then we celebrate the few handful of Jamaicans, while our population, the rest of the population, fall below the education level and so on and so forth and are at-risk male. We need to
Sorry,
invest in our people.
just a moment. Calvin is asking, why is this scholar living in America, the land of imperialism?
Just like how many of our people from the developing countries, where the adverse policies that affect their own home countries has forced them to migrate to where work and some opportunities lie. Unfortunately, the policies from these countries have negatively impacted our own countries, along with a lot of the puppet regimes that are placed in our countries, and a strap that is put on our backs to follow a certain economic orthodoxy, which is not working for us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the long and short. So people will migrate if you have unstable economies, just like our economy in Jamaica was essentially crashed. Our economy was crashed by imports. I heard the lady before lamenting about the issue of the massive import bill. Well, part of those agreements that we signed with the IMF, World Bank, etc., stipulates that we have to take their products. So, for instance, things like as mundane as onions have to be imported. You understand? And that wipes out our local farmers and present less opportunities. So eventually the farmer have to pack up if he want be able to send his children to school and go to foreign. So what sort of redundant question is that? We Jamaicans, stop playing those games. We're past that nonsense. The world has changed. There's a whole new paradigm across the world. This economic orthodoxy, where another country prescribed this for you, and it not working out, decades after decades, generations after generations of Jamaican people come up in the same system. Deprivation, a dollar that is mashed up. Have you ever read any of the stipulation that the conditionalities that the IMF put on countries like Jamaica? They say you can't use their money to do anything with the hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot use, that is part of the stipulation. Why you think Ronald Tweets was running to go claiming that we don't need all of the schools, the educational institutions that we have? You remember when he was on the school reduction drive when he was Minister of Education or whatever he was? You remember that, Dervan?
When he was Education Minister.
Minister, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The man said we have too much educational institution, and yet we have so many of our young boys at risk youth. That truancy is a big issue. They're not going to school.
Hold a moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30.
Thanks for holding. Please continue.
Yeah, and remember, and to back to that same ridiculous question, there are some questions that are ridiculous and redundant. Remember, Dervan, back in the 70s, there was a massive movement across globally calling for debt forgiveness because they had piled up so much debt on countries like Jamaica that they know that Jamaica could not pay it back. And essentially, the money that they loaned us was to buy their product, luxury products. Look how much of their luxury nonsense consumer stuff we have piled up in Jamaica. Why we need their pet food? Why we need a whole aisle full of pet food that we use scarce dollars that we don't even earn to buy all these nonsense to parrot their lifestyles? that don't really add any value in Jamaica. We hear about pit bulls and whatnot, some of these showpiece dogs attacking Jamaicans all over the place. You understand? So there are a lot of things that they force us into. So when you ask that redundant question, one asks the slave master, why did he leave us impoverished in places like Jamaica? And then award the slave oppressor reparations, right? And we got nothing. We got nothing.
So
and
here's
then
another.
Dervan.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember. You remember the banana regime where we had with the European countries, where we got so-called preferential tariffs treatment in their markets to export our liquor banana, right? That we produce, since we're now supposedly independent countries, and they have this debt to us. Know that they were going to give us a liquor patch in their markets to supply. You remember what they did to the banana regime with the WTO? You remember what they did, Dervan?
No.
Well, let me tell the gentleman who asked me that stupid question. So we had a thriving banana industry in Jamaica. Jamaican banana, nice. Can use to chips, we could have expanded, etc., etc., etc. And what did they do? The non-producers of banana, non-growers, right, which is the same hegemonic countries, insist that the little preferential treatment that places like Jamaica was getting and the Caribbean, that was too much. No, we have to mash it up. So now our banana business mash up in at least at a state at where it could be now. So there are these policies. They have an effect on our lives and on our country. Just like now, these same countries are flooding the Caribbean with these cheap, excessive firearms, right? It's like you're pouring gasoline over a fire, because our Jamaicans have a very short fuse. They are very cantankerous. That's one of our downsides as a people.
It's funny you should say that, because someone here is saying, Calvin is saying, you are unpatriotic and arrogant.
Well, we're not going to get into and this is one of the problems with a lot of our people. We're having a discussion, and you can, talk about the points that I have made. I don't know who this person is. I'm not going to be on an international call to have a sparring match, which is redundant, with another Jamaican. So he can say all that he wants to say. It is really not neither here or there. And this is not the place also for a ballroom brawl. And this is one of the things, our Jamaican people. We're a passionate people. I'm a passionate person. But we need to respect. We need to extend a modicum of respect to each other, even when we're at the height of our passion of disagreement. This vitriol and this sort of gunmanship that has mashed up our social structure. The country's still pretty, but our social life, our interaction between families and spouses and each other within the community is a disgrace. You understand?
That's why we asked the question.
Some of that.
I'm saying that's why we asked the question.
Yes. So, I want to put that back into context. But listen, again, and this is another thing, we're not to be what I call chauvinistic Jamaicans. You have some Jamaicans who, I don't know if they're copying the big countries without those countries being very chauvinistic. They are the best, and everybody else is nothing. You understand?
Yeah.
I'm from an island. We are all from the Caribbean. We all we have common interests, common history, and we respect all the Caribbean countries. We're not going into this, when we go to their country, we act accordingly, respectfully. Did you hear about that case where these two Jamaicans allegedly beat off the custom person in Antigua.
Yeah, bits and pieces. I got
Yes, you know,
mm.
we have to do that kind of, you know, we got to be, listen, Jamaica has wrapped it up. Let me remind those who are not aware. So we have wrapped up 65,000 murders on the island. This is roughly since 1989. We didn't even factor the other numbers. So approximately that, can you imagine? These are the children of the former enslaved people in Jamaica. I kill them one. You kill babies. You kill mother, father, son, brother, student, innocent people, raping. Because guess what? You're not exercising control and respect for each other on this island. You are not. And that's why you can come on to call to try to lambaste somebody you have not heard, just because you disagree with their point of view. And this is what the white man can drink over our head, that we are so easily to attack our one another, destroy each other, quick to shut down one another. But let me warn these Jamaicans, again, I'm going to say to you, the world is changing. You black people, you're not no special anything to these people. They'll grin with you, laugh with you, eat with you, drink with you. But hell is going on out there, because this is about resources and who should be in control. This is why all this thing. This is why they went to Africa, still in Africa. Now they must fight the Africans them and you to control their resources, because they don't believe that I should give the Africans a fair payment for their resources. They just want to take it from the African and kick the Africans them around. So you black people who think you're powerful, you're going to knock down another black man, another weak-hearted black man like yourself. You understand? You're gonna mash up the little woman who live in the district with you. You're gonna abandon your children. Let me say this to Jamaican character. You better check yourself. Check yourself. Because we can't build a nation like that, where people free, old people free to come back to the island to retire. You know, Dervan, there's a place in Florida. I saw a bus carrying all of these people, older people, to a particular business place that I'm familiar with. And I went over to ask, why, where are all you guys coming from? They told me they are retirees. So I quickly canvassed, a couple of these people, why they chose to retire in the States. And some of them said they went back to Jamaica and they had to flee the island. Some of them were from England. Quite a number of them was from England. And they would love to live in Jamaica. There was this gentleman, I was at the watermelon stand. And that gentleman, an old man, he heard my accent. And he was a Jamaican. He's asking me, what do I think, if it's a good idea? He hasn't been to Jamaica. He was living in England, so on and so forth. If he should go. I said, sure. I said, absolutely. Nobody can run you from your country. We don't expect that this alien we grew up with. The aliens who are in Jamaica, who plan to destroy people, the decent people in the community must deal with them. You understand? Because since the government has proved that it is not willing to have a cohesive strategy of weeding out the antisocial behavior, of providing resources to these communities to improve the living, that the people not so hostile, then those of us who are honest and decent need to deal with the matter proper. You understand? This idea that people can't go home to them country because they're afraid, it has always alarmed me, because I said, when did alien people come down to live in Jamaica? You understand? When did they come? So the long and short is, Jamaican people, you still have to be disciplined. You have to deal with each other in a civil way. We need to improve the education curriculum so that the Jamaicans have a more cohesive way. We're not on some wild slave plantation where we hate each other and all we have for each other is venom. While the oppressor can just come in and walk and take what him want in a Jamaica or wherever else and go. We Jamaicans have a responsibility to all those ancestors who are falling all over that little island to treat each other with respect and patience. We're too uptight with each other. Anyway, my brother Dervan, I really appreciate your indulgence. And I hope
Likewise.
that my conversation, taking my time on a Friday afternoon to call and reason with my people as one voice. I know a lot of people, reason and, I believe in my people, my Jamaican people and my heritage. So that's why I am here reasoning. Now remember, Jamaicans, get on top of the hospitals. Have one research the Friends of Hospital concept. It's a very effective concept. You should be the owners of those hospitals in your community where you have influence, where you know the people on the board, the regional, I don't remember what you call it down there, but ingratiate yourself with these people and play a positive role because we can improve the hospitals. If it's even the general aesthetics where people have to wait.
But they have adopted a few of those clinics.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I know there is some solicitation in foreign from the Consul General and so on and so forth. That's fine. But the people on the ground, it's your community.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't have to. Can you imagine? There was a case recently where a friend, mother, she was in panic about going overnighting in the hospital because she says the wait to get a bed, blah, 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 and so on. So she had to call us so that we could call a doctor who worked in that particular hospital to ensure that she get a bed. That is nonsense.
Hold a moment, please. One moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45.
Morning Agenda continues the tradition of providing a unique platform for healthy public debate. Weekdays from 7:15 to 9 a.m. Join Jody and Corey on Mondays and Tuesdays and Kemon McEachron on Wednesdays and Thursdays while they alternate on Fridays as they set the agenda and break down the issues and keep you informed on what matters to you most. Morning Agenda, speaking with the stakeholders, movers and shakers of our day, serving listeners in Jamaica and around the world. Stay tuned to the Morning Agenda on Power 106 FM, weekdays 7:15 to 9 a.m., where we set the agenda.
I don't get it, and that's why I carry one.
Sorry about that. Thank you for staying with us. And you were on that story you were telling us at the... Yes. Go.
Volunteers. When you are local, don't wait on foreign people and diaspora and all of that. You live in Jamaica. Get yourself, ingratiate yourself in the hospital. These are public, this is funded by you, the taxpayers in Jamaica. You have a voice. Don't wait on no title people and no minister this and minister that. Get involved. Form and adopt one of these hospitals. If it's even sometime to sweep the yard. And I'm being literal too. To build some donate nice waiting room furniture, chairs, nice chairs, things that can be done. There's money in Jamaica. Let's not talk like it's a pauperized society. And you middle class people who you just sit down and just watch everything just going by. You don't have nothing to say. You don't get involved with the regular Jamaican people and say, well, what kind of projects can we work on to enhance the liberty for Jamaica? Some people are doing it. Let me not say it as if I'm not aware that there are many people doing things in Jamaica. And I need to pick up that lady, Miss Donna. That's a remarkable lady. Never met her, but she's remarkable. What she has done. I hope that she gets back into the philanthropic effort, and that those with some knowledge and organization can go behind that lady. Look at what that lady has demonstrated. You know who that lady reminds me of, Dervan?
Who's that?
Florence
Nightingale.
No, sir. Yeah. No, not Florence. No.
Oh, you mean Mary C. Colden?
There you go, sir. And a lot of people should know who Mary C. Colden, one of our champion nurses.
Yeah.
We need to do stuff like that to help get involved in the hospital. Don't just wait till your family are dead. And the last thing, Dervan, one of the suggestions that I have since we don't have infinite resources, meaning we don't have plenty resources, but we have some. So one of the things that the government should do, Mr. Andrew Ones, is to take over that hospital, Andrews Hospital, turn it into a public hospital, and expand the hospital both in terms of treatment, equipment. Why you think I'm saying that, Dervan? That hospital has been there for about 100 years, I believe.
Which one of them?
Certainly when I was,
Which one of them?
Andrews Memorial Hospital.
Okay.
Right. Now that hospital has seen very minor expansion, very minuscule, nothing to write home about. That hospital has always been used for the Adventist church and their training, Seventh-day Adventist people. That hospital is in a prime location. It's very limited. It don't have a lot of specialties, right? It just offer the bare minimum care over there, which is not really top of the line. It also was out of status at one point when we had the COVID. And I noticed the Prime Minister kind of gave them a pass because I didn't hear no fine levied against them. That hospital should be taken over by the government, expanded, that more Jamaicans can access that hospital. It's located in a very central part of Kingston, on the Hope Road there, right? It should be utilized. That hospital is under capacity. I'm not an expert on the medical field, but I have a little insight. That hospital should not be allowed to just cream off the best part of the healthcare system, especially those people with insurance, or fancy insurance, or whatever you want to call it. But it should serve the Jamaicans in a more holistic way. What is your take on that, Dervan? You ever looked into that issue?
Yeah, I mean, where you have a well-established institution like Andrews, you want to pull that in even more in terms of finding other ways of growing the institution and providing the kind of facilities that are in line with the needs.
Absolutely. And to buttress your point, this institution, Andrews Memorial, is owned by a very wealthy church. Why haven't they seen it fit to expand in Jamaica, the physical capacity to serve more Jamaican people? Why? Look at the chronic healthcare needs we have in Jamaica. Why haven't they done that? and to invest in that hospital. The bare minimum is invested in that hospital. Dervan, the private hospitals in Jamaica is like a joke. And I'm speaking authoritatively. I remember Dervan some years back. They were looking for a bailout from the government, not them in particular. The others. We have Natal, we have Medical Associates, etc., etc., etc. The hospital, these so-called premier hospital, private hospital, they were looking for bailout from the Jamaican government. You're aware of that, sir?
No.
Yes, some years back. Everything is so opaque in Jamaica. People don't know what is going on in their own country. They don't know because the media don't do anything. The media is part of the elite so-called class in Jamaica that they keep every little thing to them chests that might embarrass their friends and associates. So the Jamaican people not really getting any news. They're not really getting any news. A lot of this nonsense news that come from foreign. We are knee deep in the charade in their political system overseas. Why is all of that flooding up the airways? We're supposed to be talking about issues in our country. Issues in our country that can improve, that the people not feel so vexed, the people not feel so aggrieved. That's why crime and violence is so rampant in our society in Jamaica. The people them feel aggrieved. They are not treated fairly. If them know in a suit and tie and wax the Queen's English, when they don't give them any thing, they look at customer service. And that go right back again into the hospitals. Why are the hospitals them so chaka? We can't make bed. Bed is nothing to make. We were constructing, we were refurbishing mattress years ago. I don't know if we're probably just importing mattress and whatnot. Hospital equipment. I've been part of an effort that donated a whole bag of usable, very good hospital beds and all kind of stuff. Jamaica have to do better. It's like nobody everybody want to show up about Jamaica when it hit foreign press and the media. Oh, Jamaica, we get like a shine and some cloud chasing. But nobody really want to fight to change anything in the country, to improve anything. I don't expect the government alone must do everything. I'm realistic. That government that is engaged with its people is a people that is engaged with their government. All of them do is just want to go vote whoever collect a little throw-off thing and so on. But you guys are not engaged in your government. And then we have idiots who will call and say, why you are criticizing the government? This is the kind of idiocy we have. We need to up the level of dialogue with each other.
Well, another listener says, tell the caller he is not alone in his observations and philosophy of our realities. Continue to speak out and do what you do.
Much appreciated. And I know a lot of Jamaicans, because the diaspora, I go to the meetings, not as diligent as I used to, because of my, I got ill and so on. But, we are on top. Listen, let me tell you something. When you go to a dinner party or anything, what's the first subject matter that come up? Hazard a guess, Dervan.
First subject
Which
matter.
place you think the conversation piece always comes up? You want to hazard a guess?
In these
dinner parties in diaspora.
The entertainment. Hello? Lost him?
That our people are going through. You understand?
We lost a bit of what you were saying.
What's that?
We lost a bit of what you were saying.
Right. No, I was saying to you that one of the number one conversation piece that arise at dinner parties and so on when we meet, when Jamaican people meet, is about Jamaica always come up. And, it's always waxing about Jamaica. Because the people them love their people, their heritage, We're a unique group in Jamaica. We, the African Jamaicans, and this is why it's important I can emphasize that all the teaching down in Jamaica, if you don't include in the curriculum a social, cohesive part of the curriculum, or that encompasses our history, because a lot of you hypocrites down there, you don't want the history of the black citizens to be taught to them so that they will take care of each other. They will look out for each other. They'll support each other. Over and above going to go support other people. You know, Dervan, in China, iPhone, which I'm using now, at this time I'm using, the iPhone, you know, which is one of America's showpiece. You know, there's a lot of goodwill with American culture. The iPhone is getting a beating in China, in the China market. And that is one of the places that Apple makes a lot of its money. Huge market for Apple phone. You know one of the reasons for that? Because the Chinese population sends a lot of the tussle. Remember I mentioned earlier on about the trade war and the asymmetric war that's going on between these giants and the Western bloc to see who will, if we will have a unipolar world.
We have to run. Power. We have to run. Thank you so much.
Yes.
For your
Thanks
time.
a lot for your indulgence, and you do enjoy your weekend.
Same to you and yours. Take care. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns Monday afternoon, 2 to 5. But before that, we'll be on the Jamaican Diaspora live online in the morning, 6 to 9. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm thanking Adrian Reed, and thanks to Renee Daly. Thank you very much, Renee, for your work as well, and the listeners and viewers all over the world. We're out of time, everybody. Please do have a safe and peaceful weekend. Take care.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
News, comprehensive, powerful, and credible.
Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's News at 5.